Welcome to our sixth story on the first day. Now, in our previous story, story number 5, we had the beautiful Marchioness who sent a loud message to the king who was trying to, or about to, try and seduce her. And when she served him course after course after course of nothing but chicken, and he finally asked about it, she not so subtly implied that these chickens are just the same everywhere, and so maybe you should go elsewhere to find beautiful women, right? You don't need to go fishing here. So he got the hint and he scooted out of there. So our little summary for our sixth story now. With a witty remark, a worthy man confounds the wicked hypocrisy of the clergy. Once all the ladies had commended the courage and the clever reproach the Marchioness had given to the King of France, Emilia, who was sitting near Fiammetta, who was our previous storyteller, at the request of her queen, boldly began to speak. I remember another stinging reproach, this one made by an honest layman to a greedy clergyman by means of a remark no less amusing than commendable. Not long ago, my dear young ladies, there lived in our city a minor friar, an official inquirer into all kinds of depraved heresies, who was no less a skillful investigator of those who possessed a full purse than of those who were empty of religious faith. Although, as all clergymen do, he tried very much to appear a saintly and tender admirer of the Christian faith. Because of his diligence, he came by chance upon a good man, more endowed with means than with intelligence, who, not through any lack of faith, but merely because his conversation was warmed by a bit of wine or by too much merrymaking, came to remark to his companions one day that he had a wine of such a vintage that Christ himself would drink it. When this was reported to the inquisitor, who had heard the man's estates were large and his purse was fat, he descended cum gladis e fastibus, with words and staves, impetuously upon the man, bringing a most serious accusation against him, thinking not so much to reform his faith in the Inquisition as to fill his own pockets with the man's florins, which he actually did. He had him summoned and asked if what had been said against him was true. The good man replied that it was, and explained how it happened. To this, the most holy inquisitor, a devotee of St. John Goldenbeard, answered, "So you made Christ into a drinker and a lover of fine wines, as if he were a Singlione, or one of your sots, drunkards, or pub crawlers. And now you speak humbly and want to pass the matter off as of little importance? But it's not as simple as you think. You deserve to be burned at the stake when we take action against you, as we must." With these and many other words, and with a threatening look on his face, the friar spoke to the poor man as if he had been Epicurus, denying the immortality of the soul. In short, he frightened him so much that the good man, by means of certain go-betweens, greased his palms with a fair amount of the ointment of St. John Goldenmouth, a most efficacious remedy for the plague-like greed that afflicts the clergy, and especially the minor friars who do not dare to touch money, so that the friar might treat him more mercifully. We've got some bribery happening. In spite of the fact that this ointment is most powerful, Galen does not mention it in any part of his treatise on medicine, but the man applied it so well and so copiously that the flames which once menaced him were miraculously commuted to the wearing of a cross on his clothing. It was as if the friar had given him a banner to take on crusade, and to make it more beautiful, it was to be worn yellow on a black background. And even after the priest had received his money, he kept the man under guard for several days and ordered him to attend Mass in Santa Croce every morning, and to present himself before him at breakfast, after which he would do what he pleased for the rest of the day. All this was carried out to the last detail. Then it happened one morning at Mass, during the singing of the Gospel, that the man heard the words, "For every one you shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life." These words stuck in his mind, and at breakfast time, following his orders as usual, he went to the inquisitor and found him eating. The inquisitor asked him if he had heard Mass that morning. To this question, the man promptly replied, "Yes, Monseigneur." Then the inquisitor said, "Did you hear anything during the Mass which raised some doubts in you, or anything you have questions about?" "I certainly have no doubts about anything I heard. On the contrary, everything I heard I take to be completely true. But one thing I heard made me, and still makes me, feel the greatest compassion for you and your fellow friars when I think about the sorry state in which you will be in the afterlife." Then the inquisitor remarked, "And what was the passage which moved you to have such pity for us?" The worthy man replied, "It was, Monseigneur, the part of the gospel which says, 'For every one you shall receive 100-fold.'" The inquisitor said, "That is accurate, but why did this passage move you so?" "Monseigneur," replied the good man, "I will tell you. Since I have been coming here, I have observed every day that a crowd of poor people outside has been given 1 or 2 huge cauldrons of broth which contain your own leftovers and those of the friars of this convent. So if in the next world you receive 100-fold for every one you give here, you're going to have so much soup there that you'll all drown in it." Everyone at the inquisitor's table laughed, but the inquisitor was enraged at hearing this stab taken at their soup hypocrisy. Had he not already been criticized for what he had previously done to the man, he would have brought additional charges against him for the witty retort, which had stung him and the other lazy rascals like him. And so, in a rage, he told the man to mind his own business and not to show his face around there ever again.